Hello there, everybody! This is Bob Gales, they call me, and welcome back to Umineko When the Seagulls Cry. So, in the previous episode, we were on the rocky boat to Rokkenjima, the island where this story takes place on. But, according to Maria, something may be coming up within the manor that they're arriving to. So without further ado, let's just begin. There we go. I wasn't in the tab. The boat gave a big shudder. Seems we've docked at the harbor. The boat driver came out and jumped to the pier with the mooring rope. A large man in tuxedo was waiting there for us with a warm smile. I didn't recognize his face, but judging by his clothes, I guess he was a servant of the Ushirimiya head household.
お嬢様、お帰りなさいませ。
Ooh. Okay, I'm liking the violins.
だいぶ遅かったので心配しておりました。
心配ありがとう。ウドの大木が怖がっちゃってよ。それで徐行運転だったってわけ。マジでうぜえぜ。
うるせえ。いつか逆の立場になったら覚えてろ。
At this rate, what'll spread to the whole family, and I'll be the big conversation piece during dinner. Even without this, everyone would be talking about me because of that 6-year gap. But now I've given them an even juicier topic. Damn it! Why does the Ushirimiya head family have to live on this isolated island? In the meantime, the boat had finished its mooring. A small plank was lowered so that we could get down. One by one, our parents came up from inside the boat.
皆様、長旅お疲れ様でした。奥様、お手をどうぞ。
ありがとう。お久しぶりね。ゴーダさんもお元気？
ありがとうございます。おかげさまで毎日元気にお勤めをさせていただいております。
バトラ君はゴーダさんとは初対面じゃない？確か6年前はお勤めじゃなかったですよね。
はい。ですので、バトラ様とは初めてご挨拶させていただきます。はじめまして、バトラ様。
ああ、俺もタッパには多少の自信があったんだが、でっけえ人だな。紛れもなく初対面だぜ。こんな大男あったら絶対忘れないさ。どうも、はじめまして。バトラス。
お待ち申し上げておりました。一昨年から後宮本家にお仕えさせていただいております使用人のゴーダと申します。
I heard that. Meaning, he was added to the log. I heard that, so Servant Gohda has now been added to the tree. A servant hired as a cook. He hasn't served this family long, but through his earlier jobs and previous experience, wow, why did I have trouble with that? I'm sorry. He has cultivated a talent for entertaining guests. Because of this, he is very highly regarded as a servant. Nice. I have no opinion of you, Gohda, though you're really highly regarded, so you must be pretty good at what you do. I don't like the glass shatter effect whenever you close out that menu. Does it happen every time? Hold up. Does it actually happen every time? It does.
どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。何かご用命がございましたらいつでもお申し付けください。
ゴーダさん、お久しぶりです。
ジョージ様、ご無沙汰をいたしております。お手をどうぞ。
あんた、相変わらず大した接客のプロや。もし食に困ったらいつでもわしに声をかけるんやで。いつでも雇ったろ。
これは身に余る光栄です。
Okay, is this only me, or does anyone else slightly distrust Gohda? I don't know why, but I slightly distrust Gohda. I just have this weird feeling about you, dude.
どうぞお手を、秀吉様。
Gohda-san then led a hand to everyone as they disembarked, greeting them as they passed. His speech and mannerisms had the refined polish of professional. He was very graceful, in contrast with his initially tough-looking appearance. His large size made him seem a bit scary at first, but he was much more polite than my first impression had led me to believe. He claimed to have served on the island for 2 years, but he had doubtless worked at a similar job somewhere before. After everybody disembarked, the mooring rope was untied and the boat started to steer away from the harbor. It was probably returning to its home port in Nijima. The captain waved his hand in farewell. He won't see a lot of us ever again. Maria cautiously waved her hand back.
なんだかさっきから違和感があると思ったら、あれだな、海猫の声を聞いてないぜ。
Oops. Trigger happy finger, I'm sorry. Now that I think about it, that must be why I felt something out of place for a while now. I can't hear the cries of the seagulls.
海猫？鳥のか？
If I remember correctly, whenever we came to this island in the past, the seagulls always greeted us with their lively cries. Seagulls are not good animals. They're beasts. Absolute beast. Though they're better than geese. Because of that, whenever I hear the cries of seagulls anywhere else, I get the feeling that I'm coming to a family conference. Except for the small part of the island where those of the Ushirimiya head family live. Rokkenjima has been left uncultivated, which apparently makes it a paradise for wild birds. Supposedly, there was a cliff somewhere that housed a huge seagull colony, so this island was always full of seagulls. Not having those seagulls here to greet us made me feel a bit lonely.
どうしたの？バトラ君。
ああ、ローザおばさん。いや、別に。海猫の声が聞こえないんで、なんか寂しいなーって。
あら、そういえばそうね。いっつも賑やかなのに、今日はさっぱりいないわね。どうして海猫いない？海猫たちも今日はよそで集まりがあるからかな。
Mating season?
マリアも海猫見たかったの？見たかった。
なんだってこうもまるっきりいねえんだ。ジェシカがみんな焼き鳥にして食っちまったんかな。
物騒なこと言うんじゃねえ。マリアが勘違いするだろ。ジェシカお姉ちゃんが焼き鳥にしたしてない。そんなの私がするわけねえだろ。
そうだそうだ、ジェシカが焼き鳥にしたんだ。皮につくねにレバーにネギマン、
皮にくつねり、
Okay, the line swimming meatballs just... I don't know, it invokes an emotion within me that I'm just like, I don't know, swimming meat dolls, not balls, God, not meatballs. Swimming meat dolls, I don't know, that just evokes some weird feeling within me that I don't like. As I made fun of Jessica, Maria joined along, looking like she was having fun. Ho ho ho! I never guessed she was such a good sport. Alrighty then, from today on I'll make you my #1 follower. As I smiled at her, she beamed, looking overjoyed, possibly because she was happy about this little connection we made with each other.
違うよ、マリアちゃん。野鳥って天気や気圧の変化に敏感なんだそうだよ。今夜あたり天気が崩れそうだしね。
George coming in with the science.
末、早めに引き上げてるのかもしれないね。
ほう。焼き鳥じゃない？ジェシカお姉ちゃんが焼き鳥にしたんじゃない？違う！私はそんなことしないって。
Okay, I gotta look something up for Jessica. Okay, I need to figure something out with Jessica. Who's your voice actress, Jessica? I wanna know this. For some reason, I think she acted as Mion, but I don't think she did. No, she's not Mion. No, I am... Oh my god, I could not be any wronger than I am right now. I feel... Oh, okay. Okay, oops. I made a big fuck up.
ほら、バトラも嘘だったって認めろよ。
バトラ君、マリアちゃんは素直な子だから、そういう冗談でも真に受けちゃうんだよ。冗談も少し選んだ方がいいよ。
George and Aniki gently scolded me. Even though I outstripped Aniki in height, Aniki was Aniki, of course. There was no choice but to obediently apologize.
ありよあり。マリア、今のは冗談だ。海猫たちは今日は素でおとなしくしてるってさ。
バトラは嘘？ジョージお兄ちゃんは本当？
Had she actually been tricked? Despite all that fun she was having? Her pure eyes made me feel guilty. Maybe I went a little overboard with her after all.
ああ、そうだそうだ。ジョージ兄貴が言ったのが本当だ。天気が悪いんで今日は引き上げたんだろうよ。いなくなったわけじゃないんだぜ。ね、おばさん。
そうよ。明日以降、天気が良くなったら、きっと戻ってきて、ミャーミャーと声を聞かせてくれるわ。
うん。天気良くなって戻ってくるの待つ。明日まで待つ。天気良くなるまで待つ。
Maria was in a lighter mood and was looking forward to tomorrow, when the seagulls would come back and fill the skies. Still, George Aniki really was amazing at taking care of kids. I think I remember Aniki taking good care of me as well when I was a brat 6 years ago. Aniki, that's probably your gift.
ジョージ君は小さい子の面倒を見るのがうまいわね。保育士さんでも務められるんじゃない？
なあ、ジョージ兄さんの転職っぽいぜ。
Yeah, that voice is a little bit too deep to be me on. Wow, I really fucked up earlier. I'm sorry.
私的には社長室でビジネスってより、そっちの方が兄さんのイメージだぜ。
Like, Okay, this voice actress has the same kind of energy that Mion's voice actress has, but they're not the same voice actress. Let me clarify. I made a mistake earlier. Jessica's voice actress and Mion's voice actress are not the same. And that's the end of the discussion about this. I made a big mistake.
まさか。保育士さんは立派なお仕事だよ。単なる子供好き程度に務まる仕事じゃないね。
本当にジョージ君は謙虚ね。でも、バトラ君も子供のあやし方が上手よ。さっきはほんの少しの間だけど、マリアとっても楽しそうだった。これからも今みたいに遊んであげてね。冗談は選んで、だけどね。
Aunt Rosa winked at me, giggling a little. She's a real mother, I thought to myself, who's happy to see Maria having fun.
おいローザそれにガキどもも何やってんだ行くぞ
はいはい今行きます
The old bastard was waiting for us to hurry up. Yeah, we needed to get moving. We might as well have this conversation after setting our luggage down in our rooms.
それでは皆様、お泊まりのゲストハウスの方へご案内させていただきます。どうぞこちらへ。
Gohda-san called to everyone and led the way. Kumasawa-san brought up the rear. Ooh. Okay, these are pretty. Oh, I'm liking this. A serpentine, twisting path led through a dim forest. It ran a bit uphill. I'd guess the path was made all twisty so the slope wouldn't seem too steep. But personally, I'd have been happier if they had the guts to make some stairs in a straight line. No doubt they made the path twist on purpose to put on airs of distance and importance. Before long, we saw garden-style stone steps. From here on, I do have some memories. Go up these and... At the top of the stone steps, we saw a beautiful guest house. Dang! That's quite the guest house you have right there. Its facade was lovely, of course, but more importantly, we couldn't enter its doors without having our hearts stolen away by the splendor of the beautiful rose garden spreading before it.
はあ。今年も相変わらず大したもんや。目の保養とはこのことやで。
After climbing the stone steps, the people greeted by this rose garden gave voice to their impressions one by one.
今年は少し花に元気がないんじゃない？やっぱり夏があまり暑くなかったせいかしら。
そのせいもあるかと思います。去年の先に比べると、今年は少々見劣るのが残念です。
Even so, it was a delightful rose garden. I remember that even 6 years ago, huge numbers of roses had greeted us every year. This rose garden was the first thing that greeted the people who came to Rokkenjima. Even our parents, who came every year, couldn't help but give voice to their admiration. In fact, it seems to have undergone a power-up from the garden in my memories of 6 years ago.
いつ見てもすごいわね。自宅にこれだけのバラ園があったら、さぞや素敵で。
よせよ、誰が手入れすんだよ。
Okay, never press the mouse pad. I didn't realize what I did. Alright. I'm sorry. This is the second time this episode I'm gonna smack my wrist for this one. Wow. This place is always so amazing. It would be wonderful to have a rose garden like this at home. Give it up.
バラは虫とか病気とか大変なんだぜ。
そうね。キリエ姉さんは毎日バラの手入れをしてて虫がつかないようにしてるそうよ。
え？
The way he reaches out his arm is so cursed.
そうなのかよ。そんな話は知らないぜ。
そうなんです。この人の場合はバラの方から虫を求めていっちゃうから、どっちかというとたちの悪い食虫植物ってところね。
ああ、そういう話かよ。たく、ローザ、今日はそういう話は勘弁してくれよ。もうそういうのはすっかり足を洗ったんだぜ。
どうかしら。ルドルフ兄さんは遺伝子的レベルでだらしないですし。
大丈夫よ、ローザさん。あんまりおいたするバラなら根元からちょんって切っちゃうから。
物騒なお話ですね。
モテる男はいつもリスクと隣り合わせなんや。わしも来世じゃもうちょい美形に生まれたいもんやで。
だから秀吉兄さん、モテてなんかないって。キリエも物騒な話なんかやめろい。俺のバラがしおれちまったじゃねえ
ほら、マリアちゃん、来てごらん。こっちのバラは特に立派だよ。
バラが立派。
かぐわしい匂いだぜ。俺のエレガントさにぴったりだな。
おい、よせよ。マリアが真似してトゲで怪我するだろ。
She yelled at me as I leaned in to smell the rose's scent with an exaggerated gesture. I thought she was overreacting, but when I turned around, I saw Maria imitating my every gesture and George and Nikki smiling brightly at us.
ほら、マリアちゃん、気をつけて。バラのトゲは痛いよ。
ほう。ジョージお兄ちゃん、このバラだけ変。変？どうしたんだよ。
Maria pointed at a single rose. I immediately understood why she found it odd. In the midst of all these magnificent roses, one single rose was just starting to wilt. There wasn't any particular reason. Some roses flourish and others wilt. That's all there was to it. But Maria seemed to be very concerned about the only unhealthy one in the group. It must have made her feel lonely.
このバラだけ元気がなくて、かわいそう？
ほう。
Here we go.
他はみんな元気なのに、これだけかわいそう。まあ、咲いたり枯れたりはそれぞれだからな。一足先にしおれる代わりに、そのバラは他のどのバラよりも早く開花できたんだと思うぜ。
そうだよな。いっぱい咲いて、その役目を終えてお休みに入ったってだけのことだと思うぜ。そんなに気に病むことはねえさ。
ほう。
It seemed that Maria's pure, sensitive nature was making her feel some emotional pain for the rose that wilted alone. Even though she understood the logic of it, it still felt lonely to her.
じゃあマリアちゃん、帰るまでの間、このバラをお世話してあげるといいよ。
George and Nikki straightened up and felt around in his pocket. He then took out the wrapper from the candy he had been sucking on the plane. He twisted it into a thin string, then gently tied it to the rose as a sort of marker.
へえ、なんだか可愛くなったね。
これが、このバラの目印だよ。後で、お水とかをあげに来てごらん。バラさんも、きっと喜ぶと思うよ。
お水とかあげに来る。
せっかくだから、このバラさんに何か名前をつけてあげるといいよ。そうすると、バラさんも喜ぶと思うし、マリアちゃんと心もきっと通い合うと思うよ。
名前
Though she still wore her usual sullen face, Maria crossed her arms and began to consider this intently. At the very least, she appeared to have been completely pulled out of her slump. Nice going, Aniki.
ジョージ兄さんって昔っから包容力があるよな。尊敬するぜ。
だな。人徳ってやつだろ。後で爪の赤をもらってきてやるから一緒に飲もうぜ。
この庭園はお前が子供の頃にもこんなに立派だったんか？
私が出てってからよ、こんなに立派になったのは。前の庭園の方が素朴で愛着があったんだけどね。兄さんがちょっと悪趣味にいじりすぎたのよ。前の方がずっと良かったんだから。
エヴァ、ポジティブシンキングやで。昔は置いといて、今のこの美しさをめでなあかん。その方が心が安らかになるで。
別にそんな意味じゃん。ただ私は昔の方が素敵だった庭園をあなたにも見てほしかったなってだけよ。
それでは皆様よろしいでしょうか。そろそろお部屋の方にご案内いたします。
Gohda-san called to everyone to ask if we were ready. But our hearts had been completely blown away by the rose garden that none of us had seen for a year, so we didn't pay much attention to him. Since we weren't a travel group, it wasn't like we had a strict schedule to follow. Besides, since our parents were visiting their old home, full of nostalgia, it wasn't like they had to let themselves be urged on by anyone or anything. Understanding the situation, Gohda-san continued to wait, smiling widely, until our parents got tired of the roses and told him to guide us to our rooms.
Well? おーい！カノン君やないか！久しぶりやな！元気か？
Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. In his direction, he was waving. Was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Gohda probably emphasized his small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in the wheelbarrow. I'm gonna reread that. I was losing breath in mid-line. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took off his hat, and bowed his head.
こんにちは。
I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Gohda-san noticed that our interest had shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us.
バトラ様、ご紹介いたします。後ろ宮本家にお仕えしております使用人の一人です。カノンさん、お客様にご挨拶を。
はじめまして。使用人のカノンです。
Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Gohda-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Gohda-san urged him in a whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Cannon only cast his eyes downwards.
カノンさん、もう少し何か挨拶することはできませんか？
いえ、僕たちは家具ですから。
What? He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in greeting.
カノン君は寡黙でさ、余計なおしゃべりはしない性分なんだよ。愛想は少し悪いけど、根はいい人なんだぜ。誤解しないで。ここに勤めて3年になるんだっけ。確かゴーダさんより1年長いんだよな、カノン君。
Even though he wasn't exactly giving it a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see. Apparently his unsociable nature causes him trouble a lot.
そっか、よろしくな。俺はバトラ。18だけど、君はいくつだい
？He fell silent, as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead.
確か私たちの2つ下だから16だったよな。はい、そうです。
Alright, there's definitely something up with Cannon and Jessica. I'm not gonna make any assumptions just yet, but yeah, there's something secretive going on between these two. It looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That was probably because he thought we looked down on him for it. I remember that when I was around his age, I hated being asked how old I was by adults. I see. 16, huh? That's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I probably asked something I shouldn't have.
近いとして嬉しいぜ。気さくにバトラって呼んでくれよな。俺も君のことはカノンって呼ぶぜ。
ありがとうございます。お気持ちだけで結構です、バトラ様。
Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Cannon was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the fretful male heart at his age. As his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that.
カノンさん、もう少し愛想よくはできませんか？笑顔も使用人の義務ですよ。
申し訳ありません。努力します。
ゴーダさん、カノン君もいろいろ頑張ってるんですよ。ねえ。
It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable. And apparently he had improved one bit. Gohda-san kept his business smile, but let out a small sigh of resignation escape.
それではまだ仕事がありますので、失礼します。
It looked like Kanda himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. Wait, okay, hold up. System. Alright, Servant Cannon. Might as well, see a little bit more about him before we continue on, with the story. Servant Cannon, a young servant. He performs his duties silently and diligently, but is not so highly regarded as a servant due to his unsociable behavior. There are multiple other servants with the on character in their pseudonyms. He and Shannon just happened to be the ones on duty that day. Ah. We have not met Shannon yet. We have yet to meet Shannon. Okay. I am still disturbed by the glass breaking sound effect. After another perfectionary bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Just then, the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance.
何をしてるんですか。ささ、早く片付けて。
Gohda-san urged him to hurry in a quiet voice, as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of guests. Cannon-kun wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects, as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels and such, but he looked like he was having troubles getting his arms around and lifting up some sacks of fertilizer.
大丈夫かよ、そそっかしいな。ほら。
お嬢様、お召し物が汚れます。ここはお任せください。
With a smooth motion, Gohda-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Cannon-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer.
お召し物が汚れる？
安心しろよ。俺が着てるのはそんなお上品なものじゃねえぜ。
They are quite stylish, though.
それによ。俺はレストランで落ちたフォークをウェイトレスに拾わせるってやつが大嫌いなんだ。
I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course, they weren't light, but for me, it was a piece of cake. Kanakun looked at me, surprised. It was the face of someone who never would have expected to receive help from a guest.
バトラ様結構です。僕が全てやりますので。
気にすんな。こう見えても鍛え方が違うぜ。
Since Kanakun looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was struck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him.
結構重いね。カノン君が苦労するのも無理はないよ。カノン君、気にしないで。
これぞ俺の見せ場さ。これでさっきの船の分はチャラだよな。
この程度のことじゃさっきの大騒ぎが帳消しになるもんかよ。カノン君にも後で教えてやるよ。バトラったら面白いんだぜ。落ちる落ちる。
As they did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow.
お見苦しいところをお見せして申し訳ございませんでした。
ささもう結構ですよ。行ってください。
Letting the guests, who were supposed to feel welcome, see such a disgraceful thing. must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Gohda to hurry up and go, Canon-kun left.
ゴーダさんもいじめすぎよ。意地悪言わないで、あなたも手伝えばよかったんじゃない？
これは至りませんで。誠に申し訳ございませんでした。
Without even a twitch to his smile, Gohda-san apologized elegantly.
カノン君もええところはぎょうさんあるんやで。ただ、若いんかの。いろいろと損をしとる。もったいないわ。
気難しい年頃さ。そっとしといてやれよ。使用人は寡黙なくらいがちょうどいいさ。あ、熊沢さん。
ルドルフ様は手厳しゅうございますこと。私ほど使用人で寡黙な者はおりませんとも。
Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams. So, she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kumasawa Bachan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile.
そろそろ荷物を置きたいわね。ゴーダさん、部屋割りはどうなってるのかしら。
昨年と同じになっております。さあ、ご案内いたします。どうぞこちらへ。
We headed towards a trim, arrogantly simple guest house. This was going to be our temporary quarters for the night. Cannon watched over a hedge as the guests all entered the guest house. Then, he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battler, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him, the sacks that Cannon couldn't lift himself, as if they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Cannon. But as far as he could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he couldn't just let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips. But those words he murmured were so soft that they didn't reach even his own ears.
僕だって。
Oh. Cannon hung his head, slightly biting his lower lip. Okay, that looks stupid when I do it. That kind of looks silly when I do it. Alright.
バラの庭園は記憶にあったんだけどよ。
Alright, so, since we just got into the guest house, I might as well end this episode right here. So, thank you, everybody, for watching this episode of Umineko When the Seagulls Cry, and yeah, I'll see you all next time. Usually I could think of a joke for the ending credits of a video, but no, I can't think of anything today, so I'm ending the video right here, right now. So thank you all for watching this week's episode of Umineko When They Cry. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. I'll see you all. There was hair coiled around my glasses frame. I will see you all next time. Okay.
OK OK。